But they also need to look at how they're talking about women. I mean, this bromance and this masculinity stuff, I mean, it borders on edgy to the point that it's going to make women uncomfortable. You know, you've got affiliated PACs that are doing commercials about calling Kamala the C word, or you had speakers at Madison Square Gardens, you know, referring to her and her pimps. That is not the way to win women. That is not the way to win people who are concerned about Trump style. I just think that they need to focus primarily on who it is they're talking to. You've got Americans who are absolutely going to vote for Trump. You've got Americans who are absolutely not going to vote for Trump. And then you've got a percentage in the middle who like Trump policies but don't like his style. That is what they need to focus on. So when you look at these things, it has got to be a story of addition. This is not a time to have anyone criticize Puerto Rico or Latinos. This is not a time for them to get overly masculine with this bromance thing that they've got going. 53% of the electorate are women. Women will vote. They care about how they're being talked to.
Nikki Haley is warning the Trump campaign for the 23rd time that their bromance and masculinity stuff isn't winning over women voters, which is why she stood by her principles and endorsed the guy that doesn't give a damn about what she's saying.
President Trump asked me to speak to this convention in the name of unity. It was a gracious invitation, and I was happy to accept. I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
And he appreciated her gutless fealty so much, he's completely ignored her efforts to help him on the campaign trail.
The Associated Press says as Democrats court Haley supporters, the former UN ambassador is still waiting to hear from Trump. When was the last time you talked to the former president?
Last time I talked to him was back in June.
So are you surprised that you haven't been deployed out to campaign, or have you volunteered to go out and campaign for him directly?
I mean, they're very aware that we're on standby. They know that we would be there to help. I've helped with some fundraising letters and text messages and those types of things. So we've done that. But look, we're on the same team. It is their campaign's decision on what he needs in these last final days. It does not bother me at all. I think they need to do what they need to do to get across the finish line.
So Nikki Haley, who Trump called Nimbra, a bastardized and racist spin on her culture, as well as a bird brain, she'd like him to stop with the bromance and dismissals of women. That she'd also like for him to use her on the campaign trail to help appeal to women that aren't too keen on his extremely hateful and exclusionary campaign. And don't forget, he disparaged her husband's military deployment, you know, because he respects the military so much. So in other words, Nikki Haley doesn't care how much he disrespects her and other women. She's actually all for the bromance.
Trump was not well served by those around him last night. It wasn't a Nazi rally. All that's nonsense. But I'm telling you, even for me, and I voted for Donald Trump last week, it was too brotastic. Okay? It was. You're trying to win an election in which you're hemorrhaging female voters. Maybe when you present in front of hundreds, thousands at least, at Madison Square Garden, you clean up the bro talk just a little so you don't alienate women in the middle of America who are already on the fence about Republicans. Do they have no women advising their campaign? Is there no actual woman sitting behind the scenes coming up with a guest lineup and saying, let's just have a word with the guys who are going to be speaking?
Do they have no women advising their campaign? Megyn, no, they don't. And if they do, they're not against any of the brotastic rallies because...
And I voted for Donald Trump last week.
That might be why. So just like Nikki Haley's unwavering support while he directly treats her like a piece of garbage, why should he abandon his base of racists and misogynists if the people he's insulting enthusiastically support him?
This is a campaign. This is politics. We're trying to get him elected. We don't need to rally the base or guys anymore. And it's not helpful, even if we do want to rally the base or guys, to go full off-color insults to different racial groups and so on. I get it. Trust me, nothing that was said offended me. I'm almost unoffendable. But I understand how this plays, especially with women. And it was an effed up choice. They took what was a an amazing celebration of Trump. Exciting and well-attended and hugely enthusiastic, and gave themselves a big black eye. This isn't about the insane media, which did, of course, what the insane media is going to do. This is about them giving the insane media all these headlines that undermined the main man, Donald Trump, who did exactly what he should have last night. You effed up. Hopefully you'll do better in the closing week of the campaign.
Oh, you effed up, Donald. Now that we got that out of the way, which part of your ass should I kiss next? Here's another reason that he's unrelenting in his brotastic approach, Megyn Kelly.
Or last week, there was a viral clip of Caitlin Collins, who CNN is trying to make into a star. I'm sorry, but she's only a star with leftists. And the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is. It's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted bitch all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer and also have some warmth, unless there is none inside of you, in which case it's more difficult. I don't know her, so I don't know what the truth is.
Can't figure out why Donald Trump and all his brotastic misogynists are so comfortable ignoring Nikki Haley and Megyn Kelly as they shout about the need to tone it down to avoid losing more voters. I'm sure his reasonable and reality-based reaction to the outrage settled their concerns.
I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night.
These Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out.
At Madison Square Garden, the love in that room.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
It was breathtaking, and you could have filled it many, many times with the people that were unable to get in.
Cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome.
Politicians that have been doing this for a long time, 30 and 40 years, said there's never been an event so beautiful.
She is some sick Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a The whole party, a bunch of degenerates.
It was like a love fest, an absolute love fest, and it was my honor to be involved.
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist.
You know, they started to say, well, in 1939, the Nazis used Madison Square Garden. Well, and you know what? But can you imagine it? In 1939, the Nazis, they would. But how terrible to say, right? Because, you know, they've used Madison Square Garden many times. Many people have used it, but nobody's ever had a crowd like that.
It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president.
And I tell you what, right now, nobody's ever had love like that. That was love in the room, and it was love for our country. It was really love for our country. When I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy, becomes a sound. Oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within. But this is who we're fighting. They're the enemy of the people, the press.
We're at the stage in this fascist pitch where we're literally not supposed to believe the shit that we're seeing right in front of our faces, but instead supposed to believe his retelling of our reality. He's attempting to make calling out his blatant fascism more shameful than his blatant fascism. The only question left is, are you weak-minded enough to let him control you?
I will rescue every town across America that has been invaded and conquered. And we will and that's true. Think of the words, towns that have been invaded and conquered. They've been conquered. They've been conquered. And it's not everybody's Aurora where they're talking about it. We have many towns that are in the same position and worse, but they don't want to talk about it. It's out of control. And we have a lot of towns that haven't yet been infected, but they're petrified that they will be, and they will be.